My best friend, Mary, invited my husband, Chidi, and me to her baby shower. But she surprised us all by publicly announcing that Chidi was the father of her baby. This was totally unexpected and left me in shock. Yesterday, my husband and I attended Mary's baby shower. Mary and I have been best friends since our university days. We met as roommates, and our friendship grew stronger as we bonded over our love for music. We attended concerts together and made countless memories. By the time we reached our final year of university, we were inseparable, spending every summer together. After finishing our studies, we took different career paths. I got a job at a top accounting firm, which had always been my dream, while Mary chose to explore social media for her career. Despite our busy schedules, we always made time for each other on weekends, whether it was going on hikes, trying new restaurants, or just staying in for movies. It was during one of these girls' nights out that I met Chidi. He was attending his friend's bachelor party, and from the moment I saw him, I knew he was the one. We both fell in love that night, and we've been happily married ever since. I often tell Mary how grateful I am for that night, as it led me to the love of my life. While Mary remained single for a few years after my marriage, she eventually met her current husband, Emeka. They celebrated their second anniversary this year. 3 months ago, Mary told me she was pregnant, and I was over the moon with excitement. I couldn't wait to see her become a mother. She even made me the godmother of her baby and asked me to organize her baby shower. After discussing several themes, we settled on a pink theme, Mary's favorite color. I worked closely with the caterer to ensure everything was in place. On the day of the shower, we arrived early to set up, and Emeka greeted us at the door. He told us Mary was still getting ready. While setting up, I noticed the cake wasn't centered as Mary had requested, so I fixed it. The guests soon began arriving, and it was great to see some old friends from university. We caught up and shared life updates. Mary looked stunning in a pink dress that matched the theme. She was smiling and glowing as everyone congratulated her. As the event continued, everyone enjoyed lunch, and everything seemed perfect, until Mary stood up to make a speech. She thanked everyone for coming and then, to everyone's surprise, she announced, "I'm thrilled to tell you that my husband, Emeka, and I are expecting our first child, and I have someone very special to thank for that." At this point, Emeka looked confused, trying to understand what was happening. Mary then pointed to my husband, Chidi, and loudly said, "Everyone, I'd like to introduce the father of our baby." I nearly choked on my food. The room fell silent. I looked at Chidi, and he was just as confused as I was. All eyes were on us, and I could feel the uncomfortable tension. I turned to Mary for an explanation. "You see, Chidi and I had been trying for years to have a baby, but due to medical reasons, we had no luck. I had shared this with only a few close people, including Mary. For her to make such a claim in front of everyone was hurtful, and I couldn't understand why she would joke about something so sensitive." Suddenly, Mary burst out laughing. "I was just kidding. It's all a prank for my Instagram," she exclaimed, pointing to cameras hidden around the room. She had set them up to capture everyone's reactions. I felt irritated. I couldn't believe that Mary thought making a joke like that about Chidi, knowing how much we had struggled, was funny. I looked at my husband, and he was red in the face, still holding my hand. I could tell he was embarrassed and hurt. Some guests nervously laughed, but there was an awkward silence in the room. Emeka didn't laugh at all, he looked more irritated than amused. As the baby shower continued, I felt increasingly uncomfortable. After lunch, we played a few games, and Mary was the only one enjoying herself, taking photos and chatting with other guests. Chidi told me privately that he wanted to leave, but I begged him to stay. I didn't want to cause a scene by walking out, so I stayed. Then Emeka stood up with a serious expression and asked Mary if they could step outside. I knew something was about to happen. We could all hear their conversation, and it was clear that Emeka was upset. "I can't believe you would do something like this," he said loudly. "We are close friends, and you made a mockery of our baby shower. You humiliated me in front of everyone." Mary kept repeating that it was just a harmless prank, but Emeka wasn't having it. "Grow up, Mary," he said. "Stop making jokes like this, especially at such a sensitive time." The room grew quiet. Chidi couldn't take it anymore, so he stood up and told me he was going to wait for me in the car. As he left, Emeka turned to Mary and said, "I'm done. I can't be with you anymore." Mary burst into tears, and Emeka left the party. The room was in shock. I didn't want to confront Mary right then, so I left quietly without saying goodbye. When I got home, Chidi and I talked about the incident. We couldn't believe Mary would do something so thoughtless. Later that evening, Emeka sent us an apology text, explaining that he had no idea Mary was planning such a prank and apologizing for the situation. We appreciated his apology, as we didn't want any hard feelings with him. The next day, I woke up to messages from Mary. She explained that the prank was due to stress from her pregnancy, and she wanted to make a viral video for Instagram. She also wanted to know why I left without saying goodbye and asked if I could drive her to her gynecologist appointment. I felt frustrated and told her I didn't find her prank funny and that it was disrespectful. I also told her I needed some space from her. Mary responded angrily, calling me a terrible friend for leaving her during such a vulnerable time. She accused me of being jealous of her pregnancy. This upset me deeply, and when I shared her message with Chidi, he was just as angry. He suggested that we shouldn't engage with her until she apologized for what she did. I sent Mary a final message, telling her I wouldn't be speaking to her again until she apologized to both Chidi and me. I also warned her that if she posted the prank video, I would take legal action. Instead of apologizing, Mary claimed she hadn't done anything wrong and accused me of being jealous. She said that I should support her during her difficult time, but I couldn't ignore how hurt I was by her actions. She then sent me an email, calling me names and insulting me in every way possible. She even accused me of driving a wedge between her and Emeka. I couldn't believe it. This was the woman I had considered my best friend for years, and now she was treating me this way. After reading the email, Chidi and I were both furious. We had always treated Mary like family, and now she was insulting us and making false accusations. Emeka also reached out to us, showing us similar messages from Mary, where she accused him of cheating and said terrible things. It was clear that Mary's behavior had become unbearable. We decided not to engage with her anymore and blocked her. A few days later, I received another email from her, accusing me of being cheap for not paying the full catering bill. She called me ugly, said I didn't deserve my husband, and accused me of ruining her marriage. I couldn't believe how far she had fallen. The situation continued to escalate. Emeka and Mary got a divorce, and it was a messy process. She even accused Emeka of cheating and tried to blame me for everything. After the divorce, she moved back in with her parents, unable to support herself due to her lack of stable work. I also found out that all our mutual friends had cut ties with her after the baby shower incident. Chidi and I have decided to focus on our happiness. We are currently on a much-needed vacation in the Maldives, enjoying our time together. We've learned that sometimes, people change, and we can't let their actions affect our lives. As for Mary, I hope she learns from this and changes for the sake of her daughter. But for now, I'm moving on from the toxic friendship and focusing on my family and my marriage.